On this week's show, we have an exclusive interview with Alibaba Executive Vice Chairman Joe Tsai. We're on the ice at the rivalry game against PDS. We explore the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Community Service and a report from the 44th Annual Lavino Relays. Lawrenceville's newscast begins now. Coming to you from the Lawrenceville School's historic Pop Hall, this is L10 with Ghael, Fobes. Hello and welcome. Director of Dance Derek Wilder has been appointed as the new Chair of Performing Arts. He also serves as Upper Housemaster and Co-Director of Student Activities, and he helped create Encore, the Student Dance Club. The estate of William Vaughn, in class of 1938, has pledged $5 million to the school. Willie, as he was known, was a member of the Hamel House football team, and in his later years became a member of the school's John Cleve Green Society of Planned Giving. 6 fourth formers and 2 third formers out of 38 applicants received Wells Awards. The awards grant up to $3,000 to support students on independent summer projects. On Friday, the Humanitarian Aid Society hosted a fundraising dinner to support the fight against Ebola. The event showcased a variety of student performers. Congratulations to the student programmers of the Big Red Robotics team who placed second in the Zero Robotic Sphere ISS High School Challenge. In this competition, the students developed a computer simulation of a robot. Now get this, astronauts actually ran their simulation on real robots on the International Space Station this past Friday. The spherical robots were designed to autonomously adapt to various different environments. And on Thursday, the PDS Lawrenceville ice hockey game was played. And here we have Ashley with head coach Etienne Bilodeau.
You know, this is a league game for us, but it's a rivalry game. And just like everything else in sport, whether you're a fan, a spectator, a coach or player, an alumni or a parent, rivalry games have a lot of motivators, and this one is certainly no exception. We're in the business of winning a hockey league game today. The history is there. Lawrenceville and PDS have played each other for years. We are going to play organized hockey. Geographically, we're pretty much in each other's backyards. We are going to play hockey with passion. We're going to take risks that are calculated within our own system and organization. Bottom line, let's go back. We as coaches talk about it. You as players talk about it. Let's execute the way we did against UCC. Let's execute the way we did against both Albany Academy and Hill for the first 2 periods of the hockey game. That's what we want.
Coming right back out! Come right back inside the goalie and stuff it on your backhand, right?
Lawrenceville just scored! We took it with a win from 6-0. Back to you, Ghael.
Thank you, Ashley, and nice job to the boys who played. On Wednesday, instead of classes, Lawrenceville students and faculty participated in the 12th Annual MLK Day of Community Service. Christian Hua and I got a chance to go to an elementary school to see what it was all about. Approximately 1,000 members of the Lawrenceville School community are at over 45 different locations and participating in 75 different projects. We're here at the George E. Wilson School, where 5 of our projects are taking place.
Do you guys want to make 2 twists instead of just 1 twist? 2? See what happens? Let's do 2.
My favorite part is working with the kids. I love watching them not know dance or not know what they like about dance, and then watching them be really, really happy by the end of it and just love what they're doing.
I'm sure the 5th graders really enjoy interacting with our basketball players, but it is very much a two-way street in that the 5th graders enjoy it, but also the Lawrenceville players gain a great deal from working with the young kids.
And my favorite part is seeing someone who's like really shy at the beginning, but then they get to warm up to you. Then they're like on the floor rolling around and trying to do flips and stuff. It's really fun.
I'd also like to give a shout out to Rachel Cantley and Elizabeth Ferguson for organizing this massive proposition. It's a great experience for everybody.
We'd like to thank the George E. Wilson School for making us feel so welcome. The 44th annual Lavino Relays took place on January 10th. From the field house, here we have our reporter Greg, who spoke to coaches Chapin and Schroeder and some of the student athletes.
We're at the Lavino Fieldhouse for one of the biggest events Lawrenceville hosts all year. It's a huge track meet with tons of teams from all over the region. A lot of people are here. Let's go take a closer look at some of the events down below.
It's one of the biggest meets that we'll have during the season. It's an opportunity to run against competition we normally don't run against. It's all relays, so there's a real bonding effect going on with the teams themselves that are in each event. And it's an opportunity for the surrounding schools to come in and run on the Lawrenceville track.
We have two really great coaches behind us. They know how to push us to our limits, but never to break us. So we know we wouldn't be the runners we were without them.
Athletes to watch are, without question, Michael Troop, sophomore sensation. Look for Mike in the long jump and the high jump. He just anchored the 4x2. Crushed his time, 23.17 split, fastest split of the day on the team. Pay attention to Nick, John, and Judy in the triple jump, going to win it and looking to set a record.
I want to break my long jump record. It's 22.3. High jump, I jumped 6 foot last meet, and I'm hoping to break that too.
Thank you, Greg. Joe Tsai is an alumnus and trustee of our school. But what makes his story quite unique is his affiliation with Chinese-based online company Alibaba. While not very well known in the US, Alibaba could be described as China's Amazon, or more accurately, Amazon.com could be considered the Alibaba of the US. Mr. Tsai is the executive vice chairman of the company and is considered to be responsible for the company's major acquisitions and successes. On September 19th of last year, the company made its initial public offering in the New York Stock Exchange, and by the time the closing bell rang, it had the single biggest IPO ever, $231 billion. We had the honor to speak with him in the studio this past Friday.
As a quiet first former, how did you learn to adjust to, I guess, the loud, vibrant scene here at Lawrenceville?
I felt like when I came from Taiwan, I had to really become part of the gang, part of the group of kids. There's a little bit of peer pressure. There's a little bit of having to prove yourself.
How did you learn to prove yourself?
The important thing was outside of the classroom, did you hang out with the kids, the other kids? Are you part of the kind of the social environment? And sports, as you know today, still sports is a very big part of the social life at Lawrenceville. The first thing I picked up was football, American football. And I played on the freshman team. Back then it was called junior football. And then I stayed with the program, played JV, and then senior year played varsity under the single wing system of Ken Kerfel.
And then you said that you took up lacrosse after baseball seemed to be out of the question. What about lacrosse made you interested in it?
Well, I got cut from the baseball team, so I said, angry at myself at being a Taiwanese kid, Little League baseball, tradition, not making the baseball team was kind of an embarrassment, so I picked up lacrosse. I think the great thing about lacrosse is that, if you look at how people in lacrosse keep stats, assists are just as important as goals, right? They'll say, this season you got, 25 points. And that's 15 goals and 10 assists. So it's the points that people focus on. So assists, you're helping other people rather than scoring goals. The second thing is another very important stat in lacrosse is ground balls. And that's a hustle stat. You have to really, really hustle, all right? And the third thing about lacrosse that's very, very, very interesting is when you shoot on a goal, and if you miss, the team that's closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds gets the ball back. So what it does is it encourages you to take risks, right? And I thought that was very interesting, and it's all of those things: the hustle, the risk taking, the assists, being part of the team. That was, really attractive to me about lacrosse.
Going into Alibaba was a bit of a risk too. Apparently you came from being a tax attorney into going into a small room, and in school meeting you said it was a small little crummy room. What made you take that leap of faith into going into Alibaba?
Well, I think it's really the kind of education I got from Lawrenceville. What I learned at Lawrenceville was to learn how to learn. It's not about the knowledge itself or the answer, but how to find the answer. And I knew that if I took a risk and I wasn't successful, that I would be able to find something else, learn a new skill, and continue. So the important thing of having a Lawrenceville education and also continuing in college is to be able to figure out how to find new answers, learn new things. And with that, equipped with that skill set, I think you can afford to take some risks.
If you were to give any advice to kids nowadays on going into a field of disruptive technologies, as you said before, what do you think would be the best thing for us to prepare for such an exciting world out there right now?
I think you should try one or two things that you've never tried before. You want to, taking risk is about actually doing it. Because once you've done it, then you will build self-confidence. I almost sort of half-jokingly say that when you try a new thing, the rate of improvement is very visible. If you stick with what you do before, you're making incremental improvements. But when you do a new thing, you're making leaps and bounds of improvements that will be very visible to everybody, and that's a good thing.
What would you consider your highlight of Lawrenceville and maybe your low light of Lawrenceville?
Well, it's going back to the Lawrenceville experience, there's so many things that were positive. So it's kind of hard to come up with sort of the single most important highlight. And I guess I'm combining highlights and lowlights into a single event. Was when after I was cut from the varsity lacrosse team as a senior after having been on the team as a junior, Mr. Doggett, who was my coach in football, came to my dorm and tried to counsel me, and he told me, look, you're one of those guys who's pound for pound the best whatever player on the field, and that I felt pretty good about that. And he said, look, don't take this as a sign of failure, and because you can achieve a lot of things. Pick yourself up and look ahead. And I think that was the highlight of my career. I remember that. I remember those words, and those words of encouragement. And what's the great thing about Lawrenceville is there are people like, almost every headmaster, every housemaster, every teacher have that kind of sense of care for the kids, and they really want the best for the kids. And when they talk to you, it's very, very encouraging. So I'm glad that whole thing happened to me.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks.
Again, we'd like to thank Mr. Tsai for his time. With that, we'd like to end our show for January 20th, 2015. From all of us here at L10, thank you so much for watching.